Hey everyone, TechEd here with an update on the Fezibo desk. I know it's been a while and I commented down in recent months that I would get around to making this video, but life's been pretty busy and it also seems about time after a year to do an update on how this desk actually holds up for its price point. As you can see, the desk is a little more cluttered now. Layout has changed a bit, but for the most part, the desk is just as functional as it used to be. So let me take you in. The three presets here still work pretty well. So going to my third preset, which is gonna be the highest height that I've set for the desk. You can hear that it goes up pretty smoothly. And it slowly stops. This right now is at, well, hard to see, but 42.3 inches. And it can still go to its maximum height, 47.3 inches. So let me just lower it back down to my normal standing height, which I've set to preset number 2. So this is usually the height at which I work on this desk. A lot of you have asked how stable this desk is, and if you just look at how thin this table is, and the package itself when it came was also incredibly light, it would be really surprising to me if it were as sturdy as some of the more high-end and expensive standing desks. So just as a little test, you can already kind of hear it rocking and my monitor is kind of going back and forth. So you can lean on the table, like if I put a lot of force right here, it's actually okay. But if you find yourself sort of moving back and forth, this might not be the best desk. However, that being said, for any normal working situations where all you're doing is maybe leaning against the desk to type or whatnot, it's perfectly fine. And after a year, I haven't really noticed anything with the desk itself sort of losing any of its sturdiness or, acting up on me in any way. The keyboard tray still works just as it did before. I will say though, this track is a little cheap, but it does its job and it still clicks in just fine. The preset settings still work great. So if I wanted to change, let's say the third preset, for example, I could, move up or down to wherever I wanted. Let's go a little lower to about there. All I'd have to do now is hold the set button until the S starts blinking and then press which one I want to set it to. And so it will blink like this until you press the set button again. And now we have it set to 3. Here's a close-up of the keyboard tray. So you can see when I pull it out, it just wobbles the slightest bit when I pull it out all the way to the end. But then closing it is totally fine. And I mean, unless you're constantly trying to do this, I don't really see any issue with the keyboard tray. Additionally, you can purchase the desk without the keyboard tray. I think they have some models where it's like $20 to $30 cheaper. And then of course, if you wanted, you could always just mount your own keyboard tray. You could just buy a different one or just not have one at all. It's completely up to you. The under desk features are still really nice. So being able to have a place to hang my headphones on the side is fantastic when I'm working, because I like to have them on when I'm listening to music, and then I usually will just have my meetings on speaker because I'm in my own room. But you know, being able to put them here reduces a lot of mess and just makes it look really nice. Now these casters on the bottom, I actually have not moved this desk since I put it here last year, but they still work great. I can unclip them and just move the desk around slightly. The casters still work great, so I just unlocked all of them, and you can see the desk still moves pretty well. I can't move it too far because my cables are all sort of on that track, but if I really needed to move the desk around the room, it would be pretty easy to do so. Setting the different presets still works just as they did before. So let's say I wanted to change the third preset, and I'm just gonna move the desk up a bit. Okay, to about here. Now all I'd have to do is hold the set button until it starts blinking, and then I'd press which one I want to set, and then you have to press set again, and then now your third preset is set to the height that you chose. And it's pretty simple. Move it back down to my second setting, which I just changed because I was playing around with it, and then moving it back up to my third setting. It works without a hiccup. One thing that I've noticed that is a bit finicky with this desk is if I go down to a certain height, for me that is like this height, then this will happen, and then the desk will sort of auto correct itself up. I'm not sure if it's because I have this sort of cable management strip running on my wall, and so that doesn't really go super well with a desk when it goes down, because you see all those cables right here, they just don't feed into that tray super well when it goes down low. But that is one thing that I've noticed that isn't ideal, but honestly I never really sit this low, so it's totally fine. A bit of an update, I actually sent that same video to Fezibo asking them what was going on with the controller. They responded really fast with an instructional video as well as some written instructions on how to reset it. I tried those things and didn't quite work, but the latest reply I got asked me for my order number as well as my shipping information, so they were really willing to replace the part for me since I was having these problems. I haven't taken them up on the offer yet because I'm currently out of town, but I think it just goes to show how great their customer support is. I definitely plan on getting that replaced once I'm back, but I remember seeing some comments below in my previous video where people also talked about how responsive customer support was. So I think even if you have any issues with this desk, you can rest assured that they take care of their customers and that you will have a functional desk at the end of the day. What would I rate it now? Based on the criteria that I used last time, I'm using the same categories except for setup because we don't need that anymore, having had the desk for a year. I replaced that with quality to represent how it's stood up over the past year of continuous use. So in terms of quality, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. There were some of the things that I pointed out earlier with, the remote not being super great. And then the desk just generally being not super sturdy. It is a little bit wobbly if you lean really heavily against it, which I know a lot of people do value because I got a lot of questions about that. So that's why I'm docking a 1.5 stars for that. But customer service is still a 5 out of 5. They are fantastic, and you can rest assured that there's always going to be support there for you if you have any problems. And that makes a really big difference in terms of, having a product that you're using on a day-to-day basis that you want to make sure is still working after a good amount of time. In terms of value, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It does everything that it needs to do for its price point. just docking a star, because if you look on Amazon, there are actually cheaper standing desks out there now that look pretty comparable. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on them, but they all seem to have really good reviews. So this actually is sort of priced in the mid-range in terms of standing desks that ship really fast, that are affordable, and that have a lot of these features. In terms of the overall appearance, I think it still looks fantastic. I haven't had any cosmetic problems with the desk so far, and for that reason, that stays a 5 out of 5. Overall, that puts it at a 4.375 out of 5, which is still really good after a year of continuous use for a desk as affordable as this one. If you're on the fence about this desk, I'd recommend researching around and watching videos of other desks, reading other reviews. And at the end of the day, if you do get this, let me know what your experience is. I'd love to hear it. If you stuck all the way to the end, you're a real one, and thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what you'd like me to review next. I know I haven't posted too many videos, but I'm still starting out, and I'd love to hear what your suggestions are for what I should do with this channel. Thanks everyone. Bye.